the original manufacturer and you get a distribution contract with them where, whether you give them a percentage of your sales or you pay for seller's rights on their product, and then you just start doing what you do with the product. At the end of the day, you have to put forth this effort to put this product up there, and then you have to wait until this product starts turning over money. But if you're competing with products against other people who are more successful at selling those products, you end up in a situation where it's a big financial loss. It's a lot of effort, just like everything else. And you don't see the results as quickly as going on a W-2 job and, following instructions for 8 hours a day and not having no control over your life. Affiliate marketing is somewhat of the same thing. The only difference between affiliate marketing and drop shipping is that the old school affiliate marketing was put a link into the text and hope that somebody clicks the link and follows the link over to the website and then make the purchase. Now, modern times, the affiliate marketing is done through influencers in a different way, where you are paid in advance to post up a video talking about the product. Whether the product sells or not, you got a little bit of money for putting up the video. The less is more scenario, instead of getting 50% commission off of every sale that happens, assuming that no sales happen to 100 sales a year happen, is way different than getting your $100 or $200 up front to make the video talking about the product. And if it sells, it sells. If it doesn't, you already got paid for it. You can walk away from the deal. So while times are changing, those are some of the ones that are really popular for people to do, backed by becoming a YouTuber or an Instagram model or a TikTok content creator, where people will put their highlight reels up there, and you would see the glamorous lifestyles and the promising idea of escaping the 9-to-5 job overnight. But I can tell you firsthand, what you don't see there is the brutal reality, because thousands of dollars are wasted on ads in a lot of situations. Hundreds of hours are spent creating the content that nobody watches. And there's soul crushing pressure to compete in a hyper saturated market. Because even being a content creator, there's so many people right now that are live that I've got some of the other live podcasts. And let the president start talking, and all of a sudden attention is redirected from me. At the end of the day, look, WWE is live right now. Well, no, they just went off. But when they are live and I'm live and we're live at the same time, anybody that's a WWE fan might like my show, but like WWE better. They're going to go over there and watch the TKO brand of sports entertainment and then come back to the podcast if we're still on. It's a highly saturated market. And not every content creator is making $2, $5, $10, $20,000 a month doing what they do. While a lot of people don't have respect for the people holding the video camera in the camera, especially the ones that spend a lot of time devaluing themselves or pranking unsuspecting citizens in society, the fact is that whatever they got to do to make their money, they're putting in a lot of effort behind the scenes for that one 30-second video, that one 5-minute video, to have you sit there and watch it till the end, hopefully, or in some situations, the first 15, 20 seconds, and you're like, fuck it, and scroll right past it, right? So the truth is, the real money isn't in the spotlight. If you have spotlight money, you probably put 5 or 10 years into it in order to get that. Beyond that, it's going to be hiding in plain sight. But it's going to be disguised as boredom. It's found in tedious tasks that businesses and people are desperate to offload onto somebody else. Usually the kind of work that they put on an unpaid intern is the kind of work that you could contract yourself into and tackle in any industry. Matter of fact, me and Dylan was talking about this one Sunday about a month or two ago, and I was telling him about utilizing his skill set to subcontract himself to companies that could benefit from his service. So instead of applying for the job as a full-time hourly wage employee, you contact their HR department and offer a subcontracted scenario where for a limited magnitude that you cover whatever paperwork that they need done for whatever that task is, and they just pay you for the job. And if you did that for multiple different companies, the ideology is that you could find yourself with enough workload to cover a 40-hour week, and you'd be working from the computer at your house instead of driving a car all day, or working in an office building all day, or working in the heat, cold weather conditions, whether it's hurricanes, tornadoes, uh, 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 blizzards, whatever it is. You wouldn't have to work in danger if you have the kind of job that's dangerous, because you could literally work in the comfort of your own house. But these are the problems that cause real pain to the companies. And these are the problems that lost customers, wasted time, and provided overwhelming clutter for those businesses. And when you solve a painful problem, people will be happy to pay you for that. And that's what manifests such unorthodox online careers. So if you're tired of chasing trends and you're ready for a realistic path to financial stability, tonight's show is explicitly for you. So if this popped up on your For You page, you probably needed another way to make a legal dollar. And this is something that you can start doing as a side hustle, where it starts somewhat of as a hobby, very little to no financial investment involved. And you don't have to give me anything, might I add, but over time you can build up from something that you just do when you've got free time to something that you do primarily. And when you start making more than 70% of your primary income, you can always either reduce the hours on your primary job and do this as a primary, or you can just quit your job altogether and do this as a primary, because by the time it takes up more of your free time than your primary job does, you will find yourself in a situation where you've gotten a good routine down, you've got you a good clientele down, you've got your marketing strategies down, where the budget that you're getting from this job pays for the marketing, and you still have a surplus of profit, where it doesn't take much to expand. It doesn't take much to put yourself out there and get just a little bit more. So we're going to break down 5 bold side hustles today that are simple and so overlooked that almost nobody talks about them until we started talking about them. And that is going to be exactly why they work for you, because this is going to be one of those non-saturated, super saturated markets that there is a high demand that nobody knows is there. And if you have the skill set, you can make this a niche career for you, meet that demand, and then because you're not exclusively required to be anywhere in particular, you can meet that demand anywhere in the world. This is when you can start making 50, 70, 100,000, $200,000 a year US money, and be in Bangladesh, or be in, special shout out to Bangladesh, or be in Kazakhstan, or be in Rwanda. Special shout out to Rwanda, where you can go and find you one of those hardworking individuals over there, because they got a lot of actual small business owners, women, highly successful, that you could go over there with your American dollars, invest in their business, and now you've got 2 profits. And this is just some of the stuff that we've got going on throughout the week, throughout the month. You got to take a look at it. But this is exactly why it works, because these aren't get rich quick schemes. This is stuff that could be done. That do your research and piece it together. Take your time to piece it together. Matter of fact, you could, instead of doom scrolling on social media after you get this information from me today, you could take your time and research it, start putting your plan together on a Google Doc, and then start piecing together whatever it is that you got to piece together to get things underway. Soon as you start putting things up and get things rolling, you will start seeing results. When you start seeing results, then you start taking action on those results. You might have to start by doing a little bit of marketing. You might have to start by just posting up a website, a squeeze page, or a platform of some sort. There's some situations where you can do cold calls and bring the work in. But however you decide to get started, when you get started, you stick with it and make that your 2026 change. That is different from your 2025 behavior, because you will be making extra money instead of just wasting time enjoying social media or turning your brain off watching Netflix all night long. And you got to understand, the people who do this, they are getting paid reliable services that this is stuff that you can start with almost nothing. You can have a used computer, stable internet. You don't have to have the massive 2 terabyte nothing or other, and you don't even need a car. So if you're tired of driving for a living, or if you just don't have a car that works well enough, you don't even need a car for this. You can do this and be able to make yourself successful in shadows of your own efforts, and then you can do whatever you want to do wherever you want to do it. And when you have the type of career where you're not checking in with somebody else, you could potentially go to the movies, watch a movie, and while you're watching the movie, you could be doing your work. You could go to the beach, and while you're at the beach, you could be doing your work. You could be on a cruise ship, and the part that you have to do right now doesn't require internet, and you're in the middle of the Bermuda Triangle with not one bar of signal, but you've got all the stuff that you need on your computer, you can get your work done. And then when you get right back into the internet area, right after you get on shore, you touch down in the middle of a private island somewhere where there's internet signal, and you send the product to the client. You can get paid while you're traveling, which is a lot harder than a business meeting where you have to be at a specific place at a specific time. You just send it to them when you're done. So let's get into it. The first boring side hustle that quietly pays the bills is becoming a local AI helper for tiny offline businesses. Now, when you hear AI, you probably picture complex coding for expensive software. Forget all of that real quick. What we're talking about is using the most basic AI and automation tools to solve a problem that plagues almost every small business owner: not being able to be in two places at once. So they have a desperate problem, and you're going to help them solve it. Picture this: your local barbershop. Um, the barber has a 8-hour career focusing on haircuts and charging by the chair. While they're working, the phone rings. It's a new customer asking about prices. If you know anything about this, if you've ever been to a hairdresser or a barber or whatever the case may be, they go from talking to you and dealing with you as a customer to immediately giving out prices. And if you're in that position, it's hard to give out a different price to someone over the phone that's less than the price of the person sitting in front of you. You've got to, really negotiate this situation. You can't answer that particular type of call and have the type of conversation that you want to have in front of a new call, in front of the old client. So this puts you in a position where you sometimes force your new clients to go to voicemail. Later, you have emails that come in asking for uh, kids cuts, and you're not going to see those for hours. You don't always check all of your emails. You don't always check all of your text messages. While I read all the messages that go into the comment section, I can always miss something somewhere. And once I find it, I got to respond to it. But as they pop up on a business Facebook page, you're not always on the Facebook page. So if they have a question that's like, oh, are you open on Sundays? By the time you finish doing what you're doing, you're exhausted. If you reply, you might just uh, put it on online or whatever long after the question was asked. And you might decide to put it off until tomorrow. And then when you decide to put it off until tomorrow, you come to find that you lost that customer, or three, or five, or 12. He says AI assistants, you would need to invest in data storage centers. You wouldn't need to invest in data storage centers. because you are thinking about a conglomerate investment opportunity. You're thinking about like purchasing TikTok, which happens on Thursday. You're thinking about like building a cell phone company. I'm talking about something small scale, like creating an artificial assistant for a small time business, a small time business that might have like 300 to 500 customers a month. That type of small time business doesn't require a large storage data center. It doesn't even require a 2 terabyte backup data center from Google Drive or anything like that. It just really requires you to have the ability to set up communication bots, redirect clients automatically to the calendar, answer some of the simplest questions that they have. And when I refer to an AI assistant, if you've ever gone to a website that's selling stuff, there's a little bubble either somewhere on the screen. There's a little bubble, and it pops up. And this, oh, how can I help you? Is there anything I can ask questions to? Blah blah blah, kind of pop up thing. And if you click that thing and you start asking it questions, it starts answering your questions and then redirecting you to certain areas on the website. It's actually harder for you to convince this AI to redirect you to a real person, and it literally has to give you prompts and cues to get you to talk to a real person because its goal is to replace a person. So whatever question that you have, it will try to convince you to give more details so that the AI can redirect you to where you want to go so that you never get to talk to a real person, kind of thing. But that AI is like on a website that allows people who find your company, who find your business, who has questions, to ask the appropriate questions, get the appropriate answers, and then lock in either an appointment or lock in a sale. And that doesn't require a large data set. Matter of fact, Wix.com is a very good place for you to set up a website. And with Wix.com, you potentially set up um, some automatic responses, but also with Wix.com, they have a sub app that allows for when clients send messages to the website, it goes directly to the app and to your email that's attached to that website, where you can actually go through text messages and decide which ones you want to respond to. Hi, my name is Ken. Right. Give me a husband. No, but they're not going to do that. They're not going to sell you that. That would be a stupid question to ask in a if you're trying to make a purchase on a barbershop website, you know. But when they're doing this isn't just for the barber. It's happening to like local food truck owners that can't talk to um, the local food truck owners that can't talk to the people that are calling to set up an event because they're running their food truck in another event. It's dog groomers that can't set up new appointments with other pet owners because they're currently grooming dogs. You've got solo mechanics where they can't set up a lot of times new mechanic work because they're stuck underneath the engine of another vehicle. You know, these are all great because these people are good at their task, the craft that they have decided to get themselves into, but they're overwhelmed by the administrative um, efforts for behind the scenes. They don't really have a personal assistant or a secretary. They don't already have somebody really managing the behind the scenes stuff. You have the one person and maybe a couple of helpers that are in the front lines of what shows up to the brick and mortar establishment because they're not well established online. And you could utilize this particular position to help yourself get involved with getting that company online. He said, I may not be able to solve unemployment, but I can help someone with a job. Yeah, but you have to understand, for the average American, we need a second job. So why am I going to put so much effort into helping somebody else find a job when I need more work? Oh, but wait, isn't that a job? That's a whole business in and of itself. collecting information from people who needs jobs, collecting the skill set of for those individuals, and then finding the companies that are looking for workers. Middlemaning that deal actually is a job. But the irony there is that the person that's paying you for that is not going to be the big company. The person that's paying you for that is usually going to be the employee. They have day laborers where the day labor contracts with certain companies, like a temp service. And then they pay the temp service a specific quantity of money for a certain quantity of labor. Out of that money, the temp service takes their cut, and then the remainder is given to the individuals that are going to go and work the job. Clearly, you're going to be working less than the full-time employees that are there, but for those of you who are looking for a job, those temp services and day laborers will allow you to gain work quickly without having to go through the long interview phase. Then one of the benefits of that is that if you do a good job with the person that you're temping with, you can potentially communicate with them and turn that into a full-time career. But starting up a temp service takes a lot of effort. I'm talking to you guys about how you can improve your capital today, this month, this year, by putting in a little bit of effort in filling in the blanks for somebody else for price. So it's a well-known issue that a huge chunk of customer questions are repetitively inquiring about for hours, services, or pricing, availability, direction, right? And for a small business owner, answering these same questions over and over and over again can eat up hours of their time. And this is time that they just don't have when they're calling themselves trying to get a job. And this is going to be a desperate problem for them. It is not a vague desire, it is a direct hit to their bottom line. They're leaking money every single day because they're either ignoring potential customers or they're entertaining non-potential customers. Day labor, manual labor, grab a shovel. That doesn't help them find a job because you can grab a shovel and not get paid for holding a shovel. Day labor means work by the day. Manual labor means that you just need to use your physical skills, your physical body to perform the job. You don't need to have a tech degree or something like that to get that stuff done. And then grabbing a shovel, that's just digging a ditch, which you can do as a community service worker on, death row, or you can volunteer to do. Yeah, web development. That I actually talked about that one before, several months ago. Web design, creating websites for small businesses, improving the websites of small businesses. If you have a little bit of skill with that, if you control the web page, like for example, I was talking to you guys about Wix.com. If you control the web page and you charge them per whatever price to maintenance their website, create them somewhat of a page, put it up there, you could potentially offset the cost of the site onto the customer and then charge a little bit more for the monthly maintenance. And then you would be keeping their website together and you would be turning a profit off of that. Right now, Wix.com is charging upward of $600 a year for a full year of service. And sometimes they talk you in 2 years with that. If you pay, instead of doing the per month scenario, if you do the whole year. But if you take the $40, $50 a month service plan that you would charge them, you could charge a customer, $75 a month or $100 a month to maintain this website, where the amount of money that they give you is more than what it costs for you to pay for the Wix website, and you can manage their website and keep the change, and that puts a lot of money into your back pocket, where you are really just checking in and making sure that the site's working. Virtual real estate. Well, virtual real estate doesn't really do anything for people because, I mean, yes, if you have a real estate company that, because you right now you have like what is it, Red.com or whatever. You have Zillow. You have a lot of MLS real estate development sites that are up there that are actually already fully functional. So it's not like if you are a startup real estate agency, getting a virtual real estate situation that doesn't really do much. If you're talking about creating an app like Atlas Earth to do digital currency trades for virtual real estate, or if you're talking about investing in real estate, actual real estate development like Lambda, then I mean those websites already exist, and yeah, you can build one like that. But the average person isn't building stuff like that. If you wanted to fine tune somebody's real estate business where they started going into real estate, they got their brokerage license, their real estate license, this, that, and the third, but they don't have a website. They're out there doing the picket signs out in the streets, and you're like, hey, well, instead of doing that, I can make you a website, and then you can just share that all over the world, and that will make your job a lot easier. You know, just finding somebody else's problem and fixing it for a price. That's one of the goals that you're trying to have. Virtual domains. I mean, you could do virtual domains. Got the word thing really, GTH or we go off. Well, so here's the thing with the virtual domains. In order for you to make money off of domains, you have to find domains of value, buy those domains of value, and then put them up for sale. If somebody wants a domain of value that you've purchased from probably GoDaddy.com or something like that, then they will sell it to you, and then you make you sell it to them, and then you will make a profit off of that transaction. Where you bought a domain that nobody was using, you hold control over it. Somebody wants that domain, so they're going to buy that domain from you. And a lot of times, you might have a business name, and somebody else has the same business name, and whoever picks up that domain first, you know what I mean? And some people who really want that domain, they will buy that domain from you, right? So you can sell domains, but again, that's not the same as what we're talking about today, because what we're talking about today is the back office work that already established businesses don't want to do or don't have time to do, that if you put your effort into getting it done, you could get subcontracted into filling in their back office work, which is guaranteed work with a reasonable income based on your negotiations with the client. Now, there is another situation here, because this is a situation that quietly pays the bills, and it has a lot of potential, because where you come in at in these situations, not as a tech consultant, but as a practical problem solver. You're not going to sell AI to the other person. You're selling never miss a customer again. So while big agencies charge corporations thousands of dollars for complex setups, you can solve 90% of a small business's problem for a fraction of that price. For example, you can offer a simple flat fee package for $75 to $150. And for that price, you'll set up a few basic automations using tools that business owners likely already have. And this could include an automated text back for missed calls, which I have that on my phone that automatically texts people and let them know when they're texting me that they're talking to my vehicle. You have using simple phone settings or free apps that you can access. It doesn't really cost you much money to set up, but they don't have the time or the knowledge to set these things up for themselves. You can set up messages that instantly text callers, something like, sorry, I missed your call. I'm with the client right now. Here's a link to my prices and my booking calendar, which takes them from just leave a message at the end of the call to If you want to know how much everything costs, this is it. If you want to know where we are, this is it. If you want to book an appointment, this is where you can do it at. And for any other questions, text me at this location and I'll reply as soon as I can. And that's going to be a scenario where they're going to send a text message to you where while you're doing somebody else's hair, you see that text message, and that text message will clearly give you details of exactly what they want, which allows you to determine the expedition of response. Because there's not many questions if all of the other answers are answered. Location, availability, the schedule, pricing, unless you're asking for something unorthodox, like can you do the work now and I pay you later kind of thing, unless you're asking for something unorthodox, all of your questions should have been answered. Do you do walk-ins? That should be listed up there, right? So making these kind of tunes or tune-ups to somebody's overall setup will allow them to be a lot more efficient without having to go through all of the red tape behind the scenes. Having an auto reply for these businesses in their emails, you'll be using a standard vacation responder in Gmail, and you can write a professional message that answers the top 5 FAQ questions that that company has, and then point those people to the website where not only can they get more information on the answer to that question, but they can also get onto the website, make purchases through the website, lock down the service from the company where the owner of the company does not lose that client. Now, if any of this information is sounding familiar, that's because somebody's doing it, but they're not doing it as often as it could be. And big businesses are charging hundreds of thousands of dollars to make this happen. So a simple FAQ document like talk to the business owner for 20 minutes, gather the most common questions, and then you want to put that answer or all of those answers into a clean one-page Google Doc, and they can link that everywhere, right? And hyperlinks, you can have a hyperlink not just to a page, you can have a hyperlink to a subpage. That's one of the reasons why I talked to you guys about Wix.com, because you can hyperlink to a subpage. Then, if you have a situation where you put about 2 hours of your time in, you find yourself building a 24/7 virtual receptionist for the other person, and then you charge them a fee of $150. For the company, that's a no-brainer. They're likely going to make that money back inside of the first week. $150 for you to set up for you to put 2 hours of your life towards $150. That's $75 an hour's worth of work for you. But now that business does not have to do anything else with setting up and expanding their business. You can also scale this idea, because if you have 4 clients a month at $150 each, that's an extra $600 a month. And if you're doing 2 hours per client for 4 clients a month, you're spending an extra 8 hours of your week, of your month, doing $600 extra dollars worth of work. That's thick, right? But the real money is in reoccurring revenue. You can offer options such as $50 a month check-in and optimization services. This is where you running a Wix page for them makes it so much better for them and more profitable for you. For this scenario, you'll be spending 30 minutes a month tweaking their messages or updating their FAQ docs with handfuls of clients on retainer, where you're looking at a quiet, consistent income stream. And now if you're spending 30 minutes per month tweaking websites, you're now at $50 per 30 minutes, capable of spending 2 hours for $200 tweaking websites on a reoccurring basis. You got to think about this. Anybody who's making $18 an hour could be sitting over here making $75 an hour, just helping brick and mortar businesses get more established online and more automated with chatbots. See what I'm saying? A simple action that turns into a step that gets the other person started. Here's another one. You can create your own one-page offer. Don't build a website for them. Open a free Google Doc and create a simple one-page document. At the top, write a clear headline. Stop missing customers. Then I'll build your automated response system for $75. Build that list exactly of the things that you're going to be doing for them. Then you can create a quick example of a fictional business to make the offer very tangible. Find your first client, Facebook or anywhere. You can join local communities and small business groups. Don't just spam your offer everywhere. Look for the pain points. Look for someone when someone posts, can anyone recommend a plumber who actually answers the phone? That's your cue. You want to send a private message to the recommended plumbers and say, hey, I saw you were recommended in town groups, right? And I can help you with the local pros and cons setup where we simply automate the replies so that you never miss these types of leads again. Would you be open to seeing how it works? That's it. Offer a first business discount where your first client is the hardest one to get. So you may offer some irresistible responses. Post in a local group that I'm launching a new service to help small businesses automate customer inquiries, and I'm looking for one local shop to set up for just $25 instead of that $75 idea in exchange for testimonial, where they're going to review your work. This removes the risk and it gets you testimony. They'll be able to talk about you, and you can use that to land clients at your full price rate. This hustle is boring because you're just fiddling with settings. But to a stressed out business owner, you're not just a tech helper, you're a lifesaver. The second boring side hustle is offering simple, patient digital organization services, mainly for older adults and other people who find technology intimidating. We live in a world that assesses everyone and assumes that everyone is a digital nomad where they are native to technology. But that assumption is completely wrong, and it creates a massive underserved market. So many people after, I want to say 65, 70 years old, 65, I want to say at least, because I've seen a lot of 70 and 80-year-olds that simply weaponize helplessness to the magnitude that I can't, and then they don't want to learn how to use technology. They put it on the next generation to do it for them. Oh, nobody ever showed me. But you can YouTube your own music. You can YouTube a video on how to get this done. I don't know how to do it, but you never try to find out. They will spend their whole day watching reruns of black and white TV shows, but they won't sit there for 2 hours and learn a new skill. Learn how to use their phone, learn how to use their email, learn how to use a website, learn how to click on a web page or a hot link or something like that. They deliberately don't learn. And that still puts them in a position where they have a desperate problem that needs to be solved. So think about it. Even with programs to expand internet access, recent data shows that there are still around 20 million people in the United States without reliable connection. And a large number of them are going to be senior citizens. But it's not just about the access, it's about their confidence. The digital world can feel like a hostile, confusing landscape for many, many people. This creates a world of problems. They have a lifetime of memories literally in a shoebox filled with faded black and white photos. They have important documents, wills, medical records, tax receipts, all piled up in a cabinet somewhere. And in some situations, covered in bugs. They know this stuff is important. And they thought of losing it all in a fire or a flood is a source of constant low grade anxiety. So, a recent AARP data suggested that even with post pandemic digital adoption, somewhere around 55 to 60% of adults over 50 still have not saved their critical physical documents digitally, mostly because they don't know how or feel overwhelmed in the process. There's just so much there that they don't know where to start, so they're just not going to start. They don't want to watch a fast-paced tutorial. They don't want to learn how to do it. They don't want a kind, patient person to sit with them and help them do it. They want somebody that's going to get in there and get it done for them. So, this service, this is where you're willing to help them because they will pay for what isn't digitalized so that they can get that peace of mind. And that's where you come in. Your bills are quietly getting paid because the professional organizing industry is booming, with organizers charging anywhere between $50 to $150 an hour. I'm going to say this again. Professional organizers are getting paid $50 to $150 an hour. So if you're making an $18 to $24 an hour, you could either be doubling or quadrupling your money by catching old folks who are willing to give you $300 to spend 2 hours putting their whole life accessible in the cloud. Not just on the internet, not just on their computer where if the computer burns up or whatever that they can't have it. Like literally organizing it, scanning all of their documents, organizing it, putting it into folders, putting those folders into a location on the internet where they can find it, and then leaving your contact information there where if they need help with finding it again, that you can go back and show them where it's at. But many people focus on the physical clutter, like clothes and garages and stuff like that. And you got to understand the niche of digital organizing for seniors is far less crowded than the niche of hoarders getting rid of too much stuff in a smaller space. Because when you think about organizers, you think about the people who help you get rid of the stuff that's in your house, help you move out, help you sell everything. But what about the people who you're trying to put their personal important stuff online? You can offer your services in simple blocks. For example, a photo rescuer session, 2 hour session for $60. That gives you $30 an hour, where you sit with the client, you scan their most important photos with a simple phone app and organize them into digital folders on a free Google Drive account, where you would create that Google Drive account for them, potentially link that Google Drive account to their account, set everything up for them. 2 hours, $30 an hour. Still, for the average person that's making $18 to $25 an hour, this is $5 an hour more than what you normally make, and you would have a good time with an elderly person doing something that they need done. You're bonding with this person, you're having a fun time, and you're saving them so much stress. You can label those documents with names like stuff that they'll understand, like 1985 family vacation. And for my generation, that don't seem like that long ago. But if you're in your early 20s going into your 30s, you're like 1985, sheesh. You were born after 2010 and somebody says 1985, you're like, sheesh, right? Because the internet came out in 2009. Anybody who was born before 2009 knows what I'm talking about. We got stuff, whether it's stuff from when we were kids, or if we inherited stuff from our parents or our grandparents, where we've got stuff from the 60s, we've got stuff from the 70s, the 80s, where it's not online yet. You can do things like a digital filing cabinet package, where for a flat fee of $100 that you'll scan their essential documents and create a clear folder structure and show them how to access their files. But think about if you're scanning everything and you're doing photos, that's $160 and essentially 3 hours. You have a house inventory project. For insurance purposes, you could go room by room, take photos of all the valuables, log them into a spreadsheet for a flat fee of $150. Now, take that and you add that to the other two and say you're there for 6 hours between all the photos for 2 hours, all the documents for 2 more hours, and then everything else in the house of value for 2 more hours, 6 hours, and you would have made almost 300 bucks. More than that, because yeah, 160 plus 150, $310 for one day to help somebody get their whole life in order, right? Your pricing is going to be key here because you're not a high-tech consultant. You're charging a reasonable $30 to $60 per hour for individual tasks, which feels fair to someone on a fixed income. 2 or 3 of these sessions a week can bring in an extra $180 to $360. And the fact is that if the person needs you to do one thing and then they get a little bit of money and they need you to come back and do something else, you can potentially make that whole $360 off of one client over the course of multiple appointments. But that's recurring customer base. And they're going to refer you to the people that they know that also could benefit from the same thing. The trust that you build is invaluable because a happy client will tell their friends, their family, and their neighbors. Almost like the reputation of a Waffle House. And this is going to be a business built on word of mouth, not just advertisements online. Now, while yes, you could set up a Craigslist and you could advertise these efforts, you have to think about the fact that when you put this type of service online, your clients have to be within the realm of where you can commute to. And then when you're looking at a long distance commute, you also have to factor in additional service fees, and you're probably going to have to put discretionary service fees, variable rates, whatever, located somewhere on your pamphlet when you start talking about commuting to a place that's farther out. You might, instead of charging $30 an hour, you might charge $60 an hour because it's going to take you $75 to get there. Right? And you're going to be there for 3 hours. You have to really think about what you're doing and where you're doing it at. Often the adult children of your client will be the first individuals that will find and pay for your services. They're happy to have someone patiently helping their parents with tasks that they don't have time for. And this is going to be a simple action that steps up your game and sets up the other person, where when you guys get started, you start being more capable of building a routine that makes this way more organized for you as well. For example, create an untechy flyer because you're attracting people who know nothing about tech. Design a simple, large print flyer. Use a friendly headline like "Overwhelmed by today's technology? Let me help you organize your digital life." That's a good headline. List your services in plain English. Do it in Times New Roman. That way there's no miscommunications. Put it in a 36-point font if you have to. I would do, if you've got a lot of stuff going on the page, I'd probably do like an 18-point font. That's why it's still readable. 16 to 18-point font is still readable, but you can list a lot of stuff that you do and put your prices up there. Scanning old photos, organizing important documents. These are the things that you're going to list. Instead of cloud storage, you want to say save your photos safely online, and specifically in a secured location, right? Include your contact information in there, and then somebody will reach out to you. You want to go where clients are offline, because if you post this on Facebook, if they know how to use Facebook, they should know how to put their freaking photos online, right? So you won't find these clients on the internet. You're going to print this out, and you're going to put this flyer with permission on bulletin boards at local community centers, senior citizens areas, libraries, and places of worship. Places where people who typically don't have full hands-on access to the knowledge and accessibility to computers, but they are still present and active in life. If you partner with the connectors, for example, talk to the directors at the centers, explain your service, offer a free 30-minute workshop on tech tidying, like cleaning stuff up using technology. This positions you as a helpful expert. Then you can also connect with home care providers or senior citizens that are downsizing their services. And as their clients often desperately need this kind of help, you can be the person that connects with their clients and help their clients with it. With where the best part about this is, the people you're reaching out to are not your competitors. They have your clients, but they're not your competitors. So they have no problem with working with you, because you're offering another service where, if you're partnering with them, they could potentially advertise the fact that through them, they have access to you, which boosts their reputation, but you get paid for that. Collaborations. This hustle is very boring. It's repetitive scanning and filing naming system. But the gratitude from a client who can finally share a family photo with their grandkids is a powerful motivator beyond the quiet, steady income that you're earning. I know me and a few guys, we have helped a family whose both parents died in the house. They had to move the furniture, put the house up for sale, and we came in with 2 trucks and a trailer, and we spent 5 days helping them catalog and move out everything of value. I made it a point to make sure that they sort through everything before my team picked it up and put it on the back of the truck, to make sure that we weren't taking anything of value. We found burial plots, living wills, life insurance policies, old photos from 1896. We found antiques. There was stuff that they just had all over this house where they originally thought it was trash, to come to find out that this was some of the most valuable stuff that this family had, because it wasn't stuff that just was money. It was the history of this family, the great grandfather's childhood photos, the great grandfather, where the adult is like 55. The great grandfather's photos was like 100+ years ago, in a collection of photos, in books, in a bag, in a room that was about to be thrown in the trash. We came and we helped them find a larger portion of their history as we helped them clear out that house. And when this was like 3 years ago, 4 years ago, I didn't even think about this being a career kind of thing. But We could have been doing this for a job, $150 an hour for a job. And we were there for 4 days. So, we would have made like $1,000 a person. You know what I mean? We were there from sun up to sunset until that whole house was cleaned out. Special shout out to Nicole from Detroit, Michigan. So finding ways to create these side hustles where you're becoming beneficial to someone else's financial needs. Well, you're finding yourself beneficial to someone else's physical needs and getting a financial benefit from it. That's what's going on. So as we go back to just to recap a little bit, if you have a small business and you create the chat bots and hyperlinks and hyper response systems where simply you could just create the redirect that prevents the business from losing the customer and redirecting the customer to the sale. Or in situations like this one, step number 2, you can help an elderly person or help somebody else's elderly person for a price, organize their life, put it up on a computer where they have easier access to it, and get paid for this. Now, the third boring side hustle, these things are boring because I could tell you, while I wasn't enthusiastic when I was out there cleaning out that house for those people, because we were taking everything. We were taking beds, chairs, we were taking everything out of the house, right? We took everything that wasn't bolted down. That house was empty by the time we were done with it. We were walking out of there like the IRS walked out of MC Hammer's house with everything, right? And we put it all in the back of these vehicles and we rolled out with it. Covered a whole warehouse. It was a 4-bedroom house, covered a whole warehouse. But the fact that we helped these people find their history while we were gutting out their house, that was a good feeling. So it's boring. It's a boring job. It's a boring thing to do, but it pays good money. Now, the third boring side hustle is becoming a done-for-you micro content producer for specific local niches. Now, this one's going to be a little bit challenging to get into, but every small business owner hears it constantly. You need to be on social media. Now, this creates a huge amount of pressure for people who already stretch thin their physical presence. So their desperate problem that needs to be solved is that if you think back to that barbershop that we talked about at the beginning of the show, after a long day, the last thing that they want to do is come up with a clever Instagram caption. Most small business owners either post nothing at all or sporadically with bad content, or waste hours trying to do it themselves. Time that they should have been spending on their own actual business or at home enjoying life with their families. They know they should be posting, but they hate doing it. They don't need a full blown out marketing agency that charges thousands of dollars a month. They just need the pain to go away. They need someone to just do a little bit of it for them consistently and affordably. Now, the quiet way that this pays your bills has its potential, because this is where you set up your business in one simple step. Productionized service. You're not selling social media strategy. You are selling consistent professional posts for your business done for you. By niching down, say, to a realtor, a barber, or cafe shops, you become an expert and can work incredibly efficiently. Because once you understand one retailer's needs, you understand most of them. So you can reduce ideas and templates that are required to get started and then reuse the ones that are very successful. Mix and match them up. which cuts your work down. Your workload is going to get cut down dramatically by doing this, right? You can offer simple, irresistible monthly packages. For example, the Realtor Startup Package, $200 a month. You provide 12 posts and 4 simple reel style videos for their Instagram or their TikTok or their YouTube page. Hell, for an extra $100, you could do all 3 of them, where you're going to take the same video and size it up to be put in 3 different locations and sync that somewhere else. Do you know how much time it would take for me to take one of these videos that I made? If it wasn't already streaming on Twitter, put it up on Twitter. That takes 5 minutes. Put another one up on TikTok. Got to crop it out because it's well over an hour. So you got to start cropping out good moments. Put that up on TikTok. That is going to take probably 45 minutes because I'm going to have to crop out a specific segment of it, put some captions on there, put some hashtags and everything on there. Even if I use the same hashtags from Twitter over on TikTok, I would have to put a little extra work into editing it down to a 5-minute video or less, right? Then take the full video, put it up on Reddit. That's another 10 or 20 minutes. Then you take the same full video, put it up on Quora in a form of a question. That's a whole nother 20 minutes. I would have had one video over the span of an hour and a half to 2 hours just trying to get one video across most social media. And that's not even taking the same video and throwing it into Pinterest. Hour and a half, one video on like 4 or 5 different locations to get more organic traffic to the show. See what I'm saying? And at $30 an hour, nobody's really going to want to do all day, every day. But that's a career. That's a career. So when you say, well, for $200 a month, I'll put up 12 posts and 4 simple videos on one of your platforms. They can double down on that if they want to, and you can do 12 posts and 4 simple reels on each one of the platforms that they're willing to pay for. But for $200, that's what you're giving them for one social media platform. And this is just going to be 3 posts and 1 reel every week. That's not that hard to do, right? You can think most people comment more than 3 times in a day, more than 3 times in an hour as they scroll through social media. So being able to get paid for that should be completely manageable for you. Now, you can use some free tools like Canva for graphics and AI tools for caption ideas. You can grab some caption ideas from vidIQ. You can grab some video editing opportunities from Opus Clip. You can grab some graphics ideas from Twitter X's, what is that called? Something with the G. Elon got this new workforce thing, this digital imagery scenario that competes with vidIQ, and you can utilize those tools, especially if you have premium packages where you have unlimited usage for graphics and clip art, which helps you with your thumbnails. And then for a retailer that is trying to close a deal that's worth thousands of dollars, a $200 investment is a tiny expense to keep their online presence active and professional. Now imagine that you land just 5 retail clients. That's $1,000 a month, where you're doing like 60 posts a month and 16 videos. I do 30 videos a month, at least, plus video editing, SEOs, the paragraph in the description section. I had to write that paragraph in the description section. Okay, so 30 times a month I'm doing a post, 30 times a month I'm doing a video, 30 times a month. So to do this for $1,000 a month for just a small quantity of posts or a small quantity of videos, that's not that hard to do to add to your day-to-day operations, especially if you're able to be online doom scrolling until you find this awesome podcast to learn other ways to make money for yourself. Now, because you niche down, you're not reinventing the wheel, because you can create the content for all of your clients in a single afternoon, since your clients are all in the same field. You're working on coffee shops. If you make different types of videos for coffee shops, you can just simply put one coffee shop's brand on one of the videos and you're done. You can batch create the content for all of your clients in a single afternoon. What takes one retailer hours to do poorly, you can do for 5 retail companies professionally in the same amount of time. Now, while agencies are going to charge anywhere from $500 to over $2,500 a month to one person to make this done, your micro offer of $100 to $300 a month is perfect for the huge market of small businesses being completely ignored by big business marketing advertisements. And this is a simple action. And the steps that you need to take to get started here is you want to pick a specific niche, probably one that's within your reach. You want to build a sample portfolio. And remember, I told you, if you were coming to the show last year, when I told you guys about, because of one Tuesday, I told you guys about getting yourself established online with small niche businesses. And I told you guys that if you just did sample projects for whatever it is that you were trying to get yourself involved into, you build a portfolio. I told you this when we started talking about how do you get yourself into a job interview without filling out online applications, where you network by getting alumni communication, then having them pass you around to other people in the company, make your way to HR, just send HR a couple of samples of the work that you did, and then if they like the work, they get back to you. You don't have to fill out an application. You're talking to the hiring team by sending them the finished product of your samples, right? Now, that same mentality, if you're sitting here thinking, well, you're going to pick a niche, you're going to build you some sample portfolios. The sample portfolios that you're going to be utilizing are going to be, if you're doing coffee shops, walk around, look at some coffee shops. Starbucks is one of the most famous coffee shops they have out there, but behind Starbucks, you have Colombian coffee shops, Mexican coffee shops, minority like African American coffee shops. You got your old school mom and pop coffee shops. You got your white only apple pie coffee shops. You got your hood coffee shop. You got coffee shops all over the place. So all you got to do is just walk past a place that sells coffee. Doesn't even have to be a real coffee shop. You can just walk past a place that sells coffee and then make a coffee promotion from that company's business. Make it seem like that business is a coffee shop when it's not. When you're able to make the advertisement look believable, because you're practicing these things, the ones that turn out the best, you put those in your samples as the portfolio you're going to show your clientele and say, hey, this is the ones that I've done. And if you're doing coffee shops and you're like, hey, I got one here from Dunkin' Donuts, I got one here from Starbucks, I got one here from McDonald's, Burger King, Wendy's, Taco Bell, Checkers, any place that sells coffee in the morning, the courthouse, I've got one from the courthouse cafeteria. Any place that sells coffee, you've got an ad for that, right? And you send that to them and they're like, dope. You even created ads for the courthouse? Yeah, why not? Criminals need coffee too. Matter of fact, I got to tell you, when I was 8, one of the video game, well, actually, first we wanted some toys. That's when Nintendo 64 came out. Then we were like, bump toys, we want new video games. So Mama wasn't buying it, so we got to buy it ourselves. So my brother, he worked at an arcade place, cleaning up the leaves, but he never brought back any money. Turned out that he was getting paid in quarters. And you think, what's wrong with that? Well, it was an incentive, because what would happen is that he would spend all day working for the arcade place, they would pay him in the same quarters that he would put back into the arcade machine. So he ultimately just got free play for keeping up the property, right? Me, I needed money. So what was my marketing strategy? I'm gonna go sell me some lemonade because back when we were young, we had those old Macintosh desktop computers with the Lemonade Tycoon on it, right? So I think, well, shit, if I can beat this game in my math class, I can do this in real life. So, go down to the grocery store, grab a bunch of Kool-Aid packets with the lemonade flavor, grab a bunch of sugar. We're going to make this old Southern sweet tea style lemonade, and grab me a bunch of ice and a bunch of styrofoam cups and some clear cups too, so that they can see that it's lemonade, right? And then march my way down there with my dog, and we sat outside the courthouse. We were on the opposite side of the block from the courthouse cafe. And the interesting part was, people who were in criminal court would get a 10-minute recess, not much longer than that, which isn't enough time to go down the street, get in line, get you something to drink, and come back. And for 75 cents a cup, they would buy 3 cups of lemonade from me, go right back into the courthouse, and get convicted. As opposed to $3 down the street, where they had to wait 30 minutes to get their drink, where they could potentially have a warrant out for their arrest because they're late for court. I found prime real estate. I was at 50 to 75 cents a cup. I was flipping them cups. I was walking away with a few $100s a day. I was balling out of control, bro. It was crazy as a little kid because I found a niche problem. Not that they did not have the services, they just did not have the services conveniently accessible to the people who needed it, because they did not have enough time from the time that the court gave recess till the time that they had to get back to court to get something other than the water fountains inside and the cafeteria that's a 10-minute walk down the street. You got a 10-minute thing. If you walk outside to smoke a cigarette and get a drink from me and you go back inside, you do what you got to do. When you're creating a niche, this is what you're doing. You're finding the demand, you're finding the target, and then you build around that target. So after you do that portfolio, you do your coffee shops, you create new free Instagram account called something like whatever your city is, coffee socials. Then you create 9 example posts for a fictional coffee shop using free stock photos. This is now your portfolio. It's living proof that you can do the work. You create your first monthly deal and you offer this to your clients. The approach is going to be a local shop with a direct message or an email. Hi, whatever that shop owner's name is. I'm a local social media specialist focusing only on your coffee shop and coffee shops like yours, and I'd love to help you showcase your amazing coffee online. To build my local portfolio, I'm offering my first month of service for just $50 instead of that $75 to $150. No strings attached. I can send you the links to the samples, and then you give me your testimony, your results, right? This is where things get better for you, because once you land a client, save everything that you do, your Canva templates, your caption ideas, your hashtag list, because when your second client comes in the same niche, you're not starting from scratch. You can deliver the same high quality service in half the time. Your efficiency here is going to be where you make the most profit. Now, one of the things that I didn't think about in addition to this is that if you created a social media website or platform where you are advertising all of the best coffee shops that nobody knows about, you just did 2 things. Because in addition to being able to showcase your work by creating individual templates for individual companies so that they can get themselves seen on social media and drive more traffic to their location. You can also do two things. One, you can take those exact same posts for them, post them up on your website, link their website to your website, which allows y'all to share traffic with one another. Because if you're doing it for them, guess what you're going to have? A link to your site on their site. So that when people see their thing and then they click on it and they come here like, oh, shit, look at all these coffee shops, right? But for you, they're on your site, click that, and it goes to their site. And oh, shoot, look at this place. I didn't know this was here. Now you've got the opportunity, because when you start building, it's just like with affiliate marketing, squeeze pages. When you create squeeze pages for a primary site, each website or each squeeze page is going to describe a coffee shop, since this is what we're talking about right now. It'll describe a coffee shop, your experience at that coffee shop, take pictures of the product, show real life video of the customer service experience, all this, that, and the third. You put it in there like an actual real-time review, put links to their coffee shop in that squeeze page. You can sell them that as an ad space on your primary website, in addition to everything else that you're doing. And still, even if you did that for that one page, that one squeeze page that will always be there, will be something that you can do an extra $75 for, $50, $75 to do a squeeze page on your main website. But what you just did was you built your brand, because now not only are you the one-stop shop for all of the best unknown local coffee shops in your country, in your city, in your state, you're also the go-to guy for getting their individual businesses off the ground. Now, one of the things that you benefit from, because everybody has this courtesy thing, that if your advertisements help their company gain services, when you go back into that establishment, what do you think they're going to do? Coffee on the house. At least the one cup of coffee for you when you go there, coffee on the house. Especially if you tell them, oh, I'm just coming to get such and such so that I can do whatever for your project, coffee on the house. Now, this is going to be a boring job, because you're basically creating variations of the same content over and over and over again, but you're providing a desperately needed service, and business owners will gladly pay you a reoccurring fee for that relief, meaning that you're not going to do this just one time. You're going to do this probably once a month or more, right? Now, we're 3 hustles in, and I hope that you guys are starting to see the pattern here, because there's real money that isn't in flashy ideas. It is in solving annoying, persistent, boring problems that small businesses are definitely willing to pay to fix. And these are the opportunities that you wouldn't find anywhere else if you wasn't coming to this and that, but they're hiding right under everyone's nose. So if this is starting to click for you, and you want more practical, non-fluffy ideas on how to build real income streams, I want you guys to take some opportunities out of today. And if you haven't done so, to subscribe, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, hit those notification buttons, because this information, it's free, and it ensures that you won't miss the next video that we drop down, because we're always coming up with another way for you to make money. So your support will definitely help the channel cut through a lot of the noise. And while we really appreciate that, we want to make sure that we get the word out to as many people as possible, because there's so many different ways. Because taking this kind of niche, doing it with an individual coffee shop, taking this kind of niche, doing it with individual retail stores, taking this kind of niche, you could take this kind of niche and go to your local hairdressers and put more effort into putting their stylists up there, nail shops, eyebrow places, eye wax, whatever. And you can literally put your small mom and pop shops on the map and actually become a pinnacle in your community by doing it. because not only are the people in their neighborhood going to see this and start showing up, people that are not in the neighborhood are going to see this, value the price, and commute to the location and increase revenue in your local neighborhood. Because when your local neighborhood small businesses make more money, they can hire more employees, and those small businesses spend more money in that community, which puts more money in that community. So what you want is to help your neighborhood mom and pop shops get the word out so that you can bring more money to your neighborhood. So this is actually a double-sided benefit because it benefits them and it benefits you too. It benefits you financially, it benefits your reputation, and again, you can back that by a second business of actually marketing and advertising their success on your website. Now, the fourth boring side, we got two, we have four and five. This is the fourth one. This is the fourth side hustle, offering a quiet, productionized service, specifically that one page resume cleanup. That's what we were supposed to be talking about today. A productionized service is simple. Instead of selling your time by the hour, you sell a specific outcome for a fixed upfront price. Now, this makes the buying decision incredibly easy for the person making the purchase. They're going to have a desperate problem that needs to be solved. There's a huge group of job seekers completely overlooked by the premium career coaching industry. We're not talking about executives, but hardworking people applying for the retail, warehouse, and food service jobs. Hostess, bartenders, bus boys, dishwashers, cooks. These folks do not need a $500 resume rewrite. Their problem is much simpler. They have all of their work history, but it's in a messy, multi-page Word document. Now, anybody who knows anything about a resume knows that all of your history of your life is required to be put on one side of one page if possible. And anybody who knows anything about those of us who used to work before the internet was a thing, most of us in our 40s, especially 50s and 60s, probably worked more than 40 different jobs over the last 40 years. Okay. Back in the day, before the internet was a thing, if you didn't like your employer, you could quit your job and go work with the competitor because you already got the skills. If you worked at one fast food restaurant, you've worked at them all. You just need to know the menu. If you work at a sandwich place, you can go and work at a different sandwich place. So a McDonald's worker can go to Wendy's, can go to Burger King. You already know how to make the food. It's just the difference between the lettuce and tomatoes going above or below the meat. If you you can leave from there and go to Sonic, it's the same thing. It just depends on whether or not it's going above or below the meat. That's it, right? The fact is like if you've been bartending your each restaurant you've bartended in, you're making drinks. You're making drinks anywhere. It doesn't matter where you go to make drinks. You make drinks anywhere. If you're a salesperson, you sell stuff. It doesn't matter where you sell it at. You sell stuff. So you find yourself like this job ain't paying enough money. Bump it, I'm out, and you'll go somewhere else. And back in those days, we weren't taught that a long resume is a bad thing. We thought, shit, all the years of experience that I've been doing this, that I'm an asset and they're going to want me. No, 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 no. The older you get, the more of a liability you become because you're overqualified and you're going to want top tier pay and they're looking for intro level salaries. So you have to be able to fine tune your resume to match the kind of job and financial position you're trying to get into. If you're trying to get an intro level job so that you can go back to work quickly, you don't want to put too much stuff on the resume. If you're trying to get a mid-range job, you want to put as much honest information on there as possible that shows that you can handle the job. So you have to understand, it's confusing to look at and likely get tossed by a hiring manager who, according to recent analysis, only spends 7 to 10 seconds scanning each resume. So everything of importance has to be within that first 7 to 10 second glance. The desperate problem here is going to be that their current resume is hurting their chances, and they want their resume to look professional so that they can get calls from the people that they're applying to. Now, this is going to work in a lot of ways. This is going to quietly pay your bills because the potential here is going to be the writing resume market that has a huge pricing gap. Professionals charge anywhere from $75 for simple editing to over $800 for the full package, pricing out a massive part of the job market. You can slide into this gap with a compelling offer. I'll turn your messy resume into a clean, professional one-page PDF in 48 hours for $35. And this offer is almost an impulse buy because it's a specific outcome. Clean one-page resume on a specific timeline, 48 hours, for a specific low price of $35. At $35 a pop, this doesn't sound like a gold mine, but the key is volume and efficiency. Once you have a few solid templates in your Google Docs or your Canva, you can clean up a resume in about 30 to 45 minutes. So you're not writing from scratch. You're just recognizing information to make it impactful. If you do just one of these per week, that's a $700 a month profit for you for about an hour of work each day. So if you scale a a resume to 3 days, you're looking at over $2,000 a month. That's a pretty decent income. And the beauty is that it isn't predictable. Oh no, actually, it is predictable. It's very predictable. There is going to be some things about it that's not predictable, but the situation is that you're not going to be stuck in an endless consultation scenario. You're running an efficient production line. The non-predictable part is that you're going to get a random resume from random people, but you're going to clean them up. But each resume that you clean up, you keep a copy and give them a copy. And then you have the ability, when similar resumes show up to you, you can work that edit into previous templates that you've created for other clients, especially if you label these correctly. If you're niching it for a specific group instead of just broad spectrum um, resume writing, if you know that each person that's coming in is coming from retail or restaurants or some sort of workforce scenario, the template that you're going to use is really going to organize what they've got going on. Then you could actually set up a two-tier template, one template that allows for a quick PDF upload, and then the other full drafted template organized in linear fashion so that they can just copy and paste it into an online resume system for a different price. But if you create your before and after portfolio, you need to show your value in visual aesthetics. So you want to create the before version of the resume that's all messy and long, and an after version that's clean and sharp. You want to put these two images side by side. That way the person can see this is your entire sale pitch in one specific graphic observation. Then you want to post your offer. Now, this is a situation where you're going to post it in a hyper targeted Facebook group, but you want to not post in general business areas. You want to search on Facebook for your specific city in specific job areas or local retail job seekers, because these groups are filled with your ideal clients. You're not just looking for anybody, you're looking for specific people. You want to make that post with your before and after images, and a simple caption. Hiring managers scan resumes in under 10 seconds. Is yours making the cut? I'm offering a $35 resume cleanup service to turn your resume into a professional one in 48 hours. DM me if you're interested. That's it. Build a template library with each project. Save that format as a new template. Soon, you're going to have a template for students. You're going to have a template for service industry workers. You're going to have a template for trade backgrounds. This library is your most valuable asset, allowing you to produce quality work at speed. And while this work is boring, you're basically a glorified typist. But for someone whose livelihood depends on getting that next job, your service is a key that can unlock the door to an interview. And another step that just dawned on me, you're creating all of these templates, you're creating all of these resumes. And while you're holding this on your database, again, you've also got that website where you can lock these items and then sell the template for $20 and let them fill it in themselves. They download it, they download a modifiable PDF, and then they fill it in themselves. This will help them and help you, because those that want you to customize it for the full $35 per template, you do what you want them to do, or you do what they need you to do. But for those who are like, I just need a template and I'll do it myself, they can pay $20 and you don't have to do any work. And because it's digital, you don't have an overhead. If you're using a basic WordPress squeeze page, you don't have any maintenance fees on your website, and they're just downloading these things off of the thing as they pay. Where the most you might have to deal with is if you're using like Stripe, Square, or PayPal for them to make the purchase on your website to buy access to the link. That's pretty much the most that you're doing there. And then it unlocks the URL for them so that they can have access to the link, so that they can get those templates. These are all ways where you can just make money and make extra money with less time, very little effort, very little startup cost for you. And you can build this from one customer a month to one customer every day, where you can go from making more money in 4 hours than what you made the last 8 hours. And you can eventually go from showing up in person to get paid $300 or $400 a day for 10 hours a day to being in the middle of nowhere, wherever there's functioning internet service, and doing it on vacation. It's easier for you to make money while traveling if you build the kind of company where you're getting paid off of your internet service. You have more capabilities to travel. And I tell the women all the time, because women, I want to travel. I like to travel. I don't knock y'all for wanting to travel. I want to travel too. But what are y'all doing to fix it to where you can travel at least once a year and not be struggling for money when you come back? Not be stressed out because bills are due as soon as you get off the plane. What are we doing to set it up where we can say, bump this, I'm gone for 3 months and all my bills is paid while I'm gone, and when I come back, I ain't got no bills to pay when I come back, but all of my stuff is still stable. And I didn't have to depend on somebody else to pay for that. Most of us don't have a plan. I just spent the last 2 hours giving you guys a bunch of plans. So here's the fifth one. And this is going to be a boring side hustle, but it's a bit different. It's not about building a client business. but about creating a reliable income floor by systematically stacking user feedback and mystery shopping gigs. And for people who like to shop, ladies, this one is right up your alley. Most people who try online survey sites have a terrible experience. They spend an hour or more making $1.50 per survey. They get frustrated and they quit. They're not wrong, but their strategy is completely unhelpful. The key isn't one magic platform, it's mastering organization across several platforms. The desperate problem here to solve is that this hustle solves your problem for you, the income volatility. When you're starting out, some months are good and some months are bad. A steady, predictable income floor, not necessarily seen. Even a small one is good, but it is a huge psychological relief when you start organizing a strategic floor. It's the money that covers your internet bill or your groceries, no matter what you do. That is a good floor. Now, for the companies offering these gigs, they'll need real world feedback on their products and their apps. They will pay for detailed feedback from organized, reliable users. Most users aren't, which is why you can raise to the top. The quietly paid bills from this potential is going to be here. Let's be clear. This won't make you rich overnight. The goal is to consistently generate an extra $100 to $500 a month with maximum flexibility. Now, the other four ideas that I was giving you can be scalable, more scalable than this. And the reason why the other ones are more scalable is because if you are creating websites or videos or internet space for 20, 30, 50 companies. Like we had Crestify up here who was doing the same thing for $250 a website. When you have a large enough clientele, if you're doing $2,000, $4,000 dollars per month, you can scale up to a level where you start paying somebody else to do the work for you, or some of the work, recognizing that you get to look over what they did, verify it before you send it to the customer. But what say you getting $75 a client and you gave somebody else $30 to do it? They did all the hard stuff. You verify it, send it to the client, you keep the difference. You're not making as much, but out of $75, you made $40 by watching and making the connection. In that system, you can contract more companies. In that system, you can spend more time networking more deals. And then in that system, you can scale it up to the kind of business where people will come looking for you because you have serviced so many different companies in so many different cities and states. This is a little bit different because any person can do this. So if you put somebody else on this, that's just competition. With the other ones, if you put somebody on one specific portion of what you've got going on, they're not taking over your whole operation. They're just doing some of the grunt work that you don't have time to do, which allows for you to scale and delegate. And it is always smart. You don't teach any one person the whole business. You teach each one just enough so that you have less to do. And then you pay them the value of that. So if one person is doing headlines, one person's doing editing, one person is doing video compilations. The other person is doing SEOs. Somebody else is posting content on the websites. They have a specific task that contributes to each one of the jobs, but their specific task might only be like 10 minutes of the whole job, but they would do like 6 jobs an hour. And if you're getting $75 an hour, or $75 per job, and they did 6 jobs per hour, that's a lot of money on the table. Where if you're going to give them $40 for the hour, one job paid for them, and the other 5 jobs is money in your pocket. See what I'm saying? And like I said, you can scale on this. So when you're doing something like this with being the secret shopper, generating anywhere between 100 to 500 extra dollars a month, you're allowing yourself maximum flexibility. And since the secret is stacking and tracking your results, instead of one platform, you sign up for several legitimate ones. User experience testing platforms is going to be what we're going to be dealing with here. So sites like User Testing pay you to record your screen and voice as you test an app or a website. Now, these places often pay anywhere between $10 and $50 for 15 to 30 minutes of your time. Legitimate mystery shopper companies, they hire you to visit a store and report on your experience, often reimbursing you for whatever it is that you purchased. Higher paying surveys platforms, and you really have to weed these out. These are going to focus on platforms that are known for more in-depth studies. The boring part is the admin. The profitable part is treating it like a business. So you want to create a sample Google Sheet to track everything. What platforms you're going to, what tasks they're asking for you, how much time they're expecting you to perform, how much money you're getting paid for that quantity of time, and the status of that effort. This simple act transforms the activity from mindless clicking to making calculated decisions, because you're going to quickly learn which platforms offer the best returns for your time, and you're going to start prioritizing the $20 app test over the 50-cent surveys for 5-minute surveys. By being organized and submitting high quality feedback, you'll build a good reputation score. Then the platform's algorithm reward will reliably provide users to you, offering better deals to you more often, which gives you better paying gigs. While other individuals are going to quit, you're going to be making a steady stream of opportunities. And I mean, if they're offering you $20 to $50 per secret shopper, and that means that you're going to be going out 5 times a month or 10 times a month, secret shopping some of the local stores, the stuff that you buy gets reimbursed. Ladies, that's a good way to make money and get stuff. I mean, yeah, it's not as interesting than having somebody say, "I'll give you $100 to wear this outfit on Instagram," but it is a lot better because you get to go out, you get to socialize, hopefully have a good time at the store or restaurant that you're going to. You get paid for it, gets you out of the house, but your activity is drawing a revenue back, not generating a debt. Now, one of the main actions that you want to focus on with this is that you want to identify 2 to 3 legitimate platforms first. You got to do some research on them. If you search for best user testing platforms in 2026 or legitimate mystery shopping companies, you should see at least two or three that have consistent good reviews from individuals who have used it and have actually gotten paid from those. Then you want to create your tracking spreadsheet. And this is going to be the most important step, because when you open Google spreadsheets and create your tracking system, you'll be able to make a habit of logging every gig that you sign up for, the dates that you're supposed to perform these gigs, and then this data will guide you to optimizing your time. A few of the gigs might be hit or miss when you first start, but a lot of the gigs that you start going to as you get better at this are guaranteedly going to pay, because they're gigs that paid you the last time. um, they're gonna you're a review that gave a thorough review from the last time, which aided them in increasing sales. So they're gonna ask you for another review going forward, right? So you want to focus on the quality, not the quantity, because you're not wasting your time here. You're trying to make you some money. Focus on quality and build your ratings for these particular apps. For your first few gigs, over a delivery, give extreme detail, not a simple one liner. The service was excellent. Dave was friendly. They paid attention to my order. Everything was correct. Food was hot. I got the correct change back. The restaurant was clean. The parking lot was clean. The building was well kept. The employees were very friendly. Give a detailed review, right? So probably you might want to go to the restaurant and take notes. You might want to go to the restaurant with one of those recorders that you see the professors with, and just talking to the thing for a little bit. Then when you go back to the house, you can jot stuff down. Your goal is going to be you receiving a 5-star rating, but you're also supposed to be trying to have that 5-star rating experience with the restaurants. But getting 5-star reviews from the secret shopper companies that you shopped at, this is going to unlock better and more consistent work for you. Think of your first 5 gigs as an investment in your reputation, because they're not going to give you nearly as much as what they're going to give you once they start noticing that you're serious about your reviews and you're putting in effort into observing and monitoring the quality of the products. Then, while you recognize this hustle is still going to be boring, it's not going to be as boring as the other ones, because you get to go places and spend money. The boring part is going to be these spreadsheets, because it will involve detailed information. The more details, the better you get. Okay. And it sucks to put in all this detail. But if you follow these instructions, you will find that it will be a no brainer for you to incorporate, because you'll build a pattern of behavior. Check your spreadsheets or update your spreadsheets at night before you go to bed. Get up in the morning and check your spreadsheets before you leave the house. It may even have a scenario, because you're using Google, you might be able to connect an appointment from a task on a spreadsheet to your Google Calendar, so that you're notified throughout the day that you got to go to certain places and take care of certain things. The more detailed that you get with this, the better you are. And the extra few $100s a month can be a huge difference between a stressful month and a stable one. If you're already working a regular full-time job, and then you've got a little bit of time out of your day where you can go and do these little secret shops and bring you a few $100s a month in, that you honestly don't need for your basic standard of living, because your primary job is covering everything, this money could go towards your brokerage account, putting it into 15 to 20% high interest brokerage accounts, where you're stacking up on money and generating wealth, where after a while of doing this, you'll be getting more money off your stock portfolio than doing the secret shopping. You don't have to do the secret shopping anymore, right? So it's the financial bedrock that you're trying to build for your larger side hustles that would benefit you, because if you're generating a decent quantity of revenue doing this, and then you redirect yourselves to doing those website things where you're getting paid from the computer, and while you're getting paid from the computer, you're scaling that up so that you have money coming in, so that you can stop working in person and start working online. you have the capabilities to migrate from what is now being recognized as some of the most flexible employment opportunities, because big businesses are switching to AI. They're, wherever they can hire a company to do it for you, to do it for them, they're going to try their best to replace you. And no matter where you are, no matter what you're working for, you will find yourself in a position where they're clearly going to push you right out of your position, because a machine can do what 300 of y'all can do better than the 300 of y'all are doing it, and for dirt cheap. Because just like Amazon's got machines in there for $35 a day. Their employees are trying to get $45 an hour. You already know that for each machine that can do the job of 100 people, 100 people are getting fired. That's what happens. So as we get older, 35, 45, 55 years old, we need to put less and less and less time and energy into breaking our backs for the sake of somebody else's success. Our goal is to try to redirect ourselves to our own personal success, and then redirect ourselves to our own personal retirement from our own personal success, so that at some point we can drop the mic and say, I'm done. We can turn off the lights and say shop's closed for good. You understand? So there you have it. 5 boring, unsexy, and incredibly practical side hustles that are quietly paying the bills for people who have stopped chasing glamorous and exuberantly highly popular jobs, where they now start solving other people's problems for a very reasonable price. So let's recap real quick. You have the local AI helper, because you got to become a virtual receptionist for small businesses. The digital organizer, bringing peace of mind to seniors with their digital files. The micro content producer, saving business owners from the stress of social media. The one-page resume cleanup specialist, providing a low-cost, high-impact service for job seekers. And then the feedback gig stacker, building a reliable income floor through pure organization. Notice the common thread? None of these require you to be a genius, to have a PhD, to have a MacBook Pro, to have a supercomputer. You don't even have to be a risk taker here. They don't need huge quantities of investments. They don't need specialized degrees. While specialized degrees might help with marketing, if you have a tech degree and you're offering to help them with their website, the pricing is going to be what really sells it. This is going to require you to find a small, nagging pain point that other people will pay money to go away, like an acupuncture or a chiropractor or a massage therapist without that happy ending. There's pain, and I'll pay to make the pain go away. Therapists, mental pain, emotional pain, and I'll pay the money to make the pain go away. While everyone else is competing for attention, the real opportunities is in the quiet darkness of the overlooked corners of our entire economy. And the world doesn't need another crypto guru, but it desperately needs someone to help a senior digitize their family photos. It needs someone to help a local barbershop missing customer calls. The opportunity is right there, hidden in plain sight, disguised as a boring job. The only question is, are you willing to see it for what it is? A massive profit for you. So while I want to thank you guys for this, I want to tell you guys one more time on our way out that if you find all this information very valuable, you need to, if you haven't done so already, hit that subscription button and then hit the like button. Now, I want you to stop watching and start solving other people's problems. And real quick, Steven's got something for us. Steven jumped in. uh, I'm just here to drop my like on the break. Have a new supervisor for a while, and I can't have earbuds, so no tuning in for me for a while. Didn't I tell you that your job was gonna change, Steven? I told you your job ain't gonna be the way it always been. You're gonna have to step it up a little bit. So I appreciate you jumping in and giving us that thumbs up real quick. Uh, we got to work on getting you into your own business, buddy. But when you got time off, you should be able to take a look at this video and see what you can do about finding ways to make you some extra money on the side that could potentially turn into extra income that could lead you away from that job. Because since you're going to college and working a full-time job, you can find yourself doing some of this gig work that will pay you just as much money as your primary job, and you're putting in less effort, which means you got more time to study. You could be a full-time college student making $2,000 to $4,000 a month and not have to put in 40 hours a week, which would benefit your expedition. Because if you're getting less classes because you have to work so many hours, you can find yourself going 15 hours a week or 16 hours a week, or not 16 hours a week, but 16 hours a semester in college because you have extra time. Instead of going to the frat parties and sorority parties, you're picking up these side jobs so that you can make extra money. And since college has AM classes at 6, 7, 8, 9 o'clock in the morning, and then PM classes at 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 o'clock at night, you can end up doing a midday work where, you know, you have Monday, Wednesday classes in the morning, Tuesday, Thursday classes in the afternoon, and Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday midday, all day Friday with nothing to do. Saturday and Sunday, everybody else is partying and you're making money where you could cover your standard of living. This is a way where you can take boring stuff that people really need done and turn this into a business. And a lot of the AI stuff that we were talking about, if you put all of these services together, where you start up one service and then move over to another service, adding on to the first service. While you're still doing the first service, you start working on the second service and working on the third service. You can hire people to help you with one service as you're expanding on the other service, and you can turn that into a full marketing business for small businesses, because it's all about scaling. If you find a niche, you start with a niche and you maximize that niche. If you're going to do the videos and stuff for the coffee shops, do the videos and stuff for the coffee shops. You can go from doing the videos and stuff to the coffee shops to doing coffee shops, retail stores, local bars, and you can just keep expanding that. You can have a website just for coffee shops. You can have a website just for local bars. You can have websites for local retail stores. You can have a website just for local thrift stores. And it's not a full-on website that you have to pay for like massive domains and everything for. You can have a little squeeze page with a little $10, $15 a year, $20 a year domain for each one of the ones that you're expanding on. But as you build the traffic on that, as you get the clientele and you build the traffic on that, you end up having people come to your platform for the products that you're offering all over the country. And that gives you the reputation to say, he's the coffee guy. He's the thrift store guy. He's the, see what I'm saying? See what I'm saying? You know how some of those folks, like y'all seen it on TV USA, that guy that travels the world and samples food at different people's restaurants? That could be you. That could be you. Putting people's restaurants on the map, traveling around, doing interviews on them, get links for the show, take a couple items off of their menu, take some videos, some photos of it, put it up. They pay you and give you a free meal. You could turn this stuff into a business. You guys just have to find a different way to prioritize your success. So with that being said, if you're just coming in towards the ending of the show, I want you guys to come back and watch it from the beginning. Go all the way back to the beginning, because we've been here for 2 hours and 20 minutes. But on our way out the door, I want to say, ladies, as long as the situation doesn't make sense, I'm going to keep asking you ladies to make it make sense. So ladies, please make it make sense. And then fellas, I give y'all this information to help y'all become higher value men, because just like I sat here for 2 hours telling you guys on ways that y'all can turn a simple side hustle, a simple small gig, a simple boring task into a thriving business where you can scale up, add more people on, And you want to find ambitious people that really want to make money, that really want to, people like, matter of fact, before we go anywhere, you can start doing this yourself. Then you can go and find small marketing college students, and you can pay them $15 an hour or $20 an hour to edit some of this stuff that you're doing, where you're charging somebody else $60 an hour to do it. And you can have a marketing student do it for $20 an hour, and you keep the other $40 an hour, and you can spend more time scaling up the business. They're getting experience as college students to create marketing as part of their undergrad. And that does two things. Because if you're building a business off of this, if you're helping college students gain field experience, there are grants for that. I do believe they're like $10,000 grants to cover the salary of college students that are interning in your company. So build it, if you build it, then you can bring people in to do it for you. And then you can scale it up. You can turn this into a thriving company. It just takes effort and time. And if you're doing it while maintaining your full-time job, you have all the time in the world to scale up something from nothing. And then once it passes your primary job, it becomes your primary job. Build you a reputation, bring in some clients, not only clientele, but contracts from schools. That's a whole nother ordeal. Because if you're doing marketing and you go to the marketing department of a university, you can pick up people. And if you have your paperwork set up correctly, you can apply for the grant for the payroll, which means that all the money that you took out of this deal to give to those students, you get reimbursed from the government, because you're giving college students field experience in marketing in your field. You got to do your research on this stuff. So we just went from just covering the spread, trying to make ends meet at the beginning of this show, to building yourself a business from the ground up that's partially government funded for your salary, for your employee salary. Everything I do is scalable. And if y'all think the same way, you're not gonna be the worker on the ground floor forever. You're gonna get it started, and then you're going to, like a pyramid, you're gonna add people beneath you to do all the work that you don't want to do. The business is still gonna thrive, it's still gonna expand, you're still gonna make money for you. And if you're hiring the best of the best and people that can do it better than you, you are capable of making this better than what you ever could have done by yourself. Make a name for yourself. I'm telling you. So, ladies, while this is a male-driven podcast from the male's perspective, y'all can do the same thing with this information. Y'all can take this information and y'all can make yourselves financially successful just by starting on a side hustle and sticking with it. Anything in your life that is inside of your control that you don't like, that you can change, you need to put forth effort into changing that. And then navigating around the things that you can't change. But y'all have to focus today on your tomorrow. Y'all need to focus on your 10-year plan, your 20-year plan. You can have 1 year, 5-year plans, but you need to have where do I want to be at in 10 years? Where do I want to be at in 20 years? And then put forth the effort to get there. Because otherwise, you're always going to be in the same place. But just like Steven just came in and said, he got a new boss. Life isn't going to stand still for you. You will stand still in your life, but life will not stand still for you. Eventually, the I don't have to work hard behavior is not going to be tolerated by new management. Eventually, you're going to have to step up your game. Eventually, you're going to have to earn your keep. Eventually, you're going to have to improve your work ethic, but they're not going to improve your salary. To improve your salary, you have to either improve your position in your company, or change jobs, or work for yourself. And I strongly encourage you to work for yourself. All right. With that being said, I want to thank you guys for coming to This and That. I'm your host, Xander, where we talk about this, that, and everything in between. And I'll see you guys tomorrow night.
Higher ground. Used to chase validation, now I validate myself. Building inner strength, putting doubt upon the shelf. No more unnecessary drama, no more wasted time. Climbing higher, constantly making my own climb. Standing on higher ground where excellence is found. My potential knows no bounds, raising the bar, breaking ground. My network is my net worth. Choose your company wise. Surround yourself with eagles, not with sheep in disguise. Every interaction is a reflection of my brand. Quality over quantity, that's my personal command.